Okay, so good evening, everyone. And we want to thank you for giving us your time this evening. And I truly believe that this is one of those trainings that for some of you, it could actually be life-changing because it has been for Tammy and I. And I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we've done when our financial situation was a complete mess. And it's not that we were not responsible. It's just that a lot of things, there's an expression that when it rains, it pours. It's just one of those moments where in our life where things were very unclear. And that's what we want to talk to you. It doesn't matter how bad the situation is. I'm telling you, you can fix that. But first we need to talk about clarity. So this evening, that's the exact topic, is clarity on your financial status. And we want to share with you some tools and a spreadsheet. And it's a very simple training. And something that's very important here is, please don't let the simplicity of what I'm going to share with you, what we're going to share with you this evening, or this morning, if you happen to be watching here from the Philippines. I didn't check here on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Yeah, don't be taken back, or I can't find the right expression here, thinking that because it's simple, it doesn't really matter, because sometimes the best solution are the simplest one. And we want to walk you through some of the things that we've done. And I just taught my son exactly how to start managing his finances. And I just spoke to him last week, and he was telling me, like, it's just amazing how good it feels when you have clarity. Doesn't matter how bad the situation is, but when you, not that he's in a bad state, but when you have clarity financially of what's going on, everything else seems to be easier. And it's really interesting, but what you think about expand, I know many of you are aware of that. And when if you constantly think of debts and issues and problems and lack of, well, guess what? That's what you get, lack of whatever it is that you think about. And it starts with, our finances. I find it's a very important root to work on, and that's what we want to talk about. Tammy, I know you have some thoughts that you wanted to share.
Yeah, well, our biggest challenges was at the end of our last company. Things were not going well, and we had made investments. I think that was the big one, Chris, all the investments that we had put out there, and things didn't turn out. And it happens. It's called life. And so coming into Max, it was literally rebuilding our life. And we didn't tell a lot of people. Most of you who knew us back then, you didn't know of the challenges until we came into Max and started to express a lot of the challenges that were going on, so that people can relate to exactly where we were at the time. And the biggest thing was to sit down and to just lay it on the table. That was a huge relief in itself. And that's what Chris is going to show you right now is a spreadsheet. And we just put it all out there. And we had bills coming in left and right, and they all had those red stamps. I don't know if you guys ever had those bills come in the mail, with those warnings and warnings and warnings. And when we laid out our plan, what was interesting is when we did talk to the banks and credit cards and the different things, we had it all laid out, and they worked with us. And that's how we were able to get out of the situation we were, so that we could move into profit. And of course, we worked our butts off. Honestly, we didn't vacation. We worked a lot of hours. He was constantly on the phone. I was constantly on the phone. And we just did meeting after every single day, Chris. We had people coming in and out of our house. Nowadays, it would be Zoom, which is a lot easier. You don't have to worry about cleaning your house or anything. You can stay in your pajamas from the bottom down and just show up. But we booked and booked and booked and booked and booked. And we were so focused to reach our goal. One of the biggest goals was that $25,000 a month. And that's where our aim was. And of course, it increased over time. But you got to know where you're at, where you want to go, so you can move towards it. And you basically had that foundation laid out in the last few weeks on what needs to be done to build this business. And that's literally what Chris and I did nonstop. And that's how we were able to do this. So for those of you who are very part-time, you're probably saying, well, yeah, you guys do this full time. But you know what? If we were in that situation on a part-time level, we'd be working it part-time. So it doesn't matter, whatever hours you put in, and you do the right activities.
Yes, that's correct. And Galaxy 22, Shani, is that you? Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Is focused on your goals. This is really important. And understand that, damn it, I'm not an accountant, but I've been interacting with these people for so long that I kind of know, especially in Canada. Now, what's interesting is in Ontario, even if you happen to be in the United States, we are Commonwealth. So it's very similar. The percentage may vary, but the accounting is very similar. And the very first thing I recommend for you to do is establish some clarity on your financial situation. And that's what I'm going to help you with this evening. Number two is you need to get a good accountant. It's worth it. It's worth to spend a little bit of money to get a good accountant, because if you get a good accountant, it may cost you a bit, but the return will be a lot more, most likely, if it's well organized and you're dealing with an accountant understand MLM. If you're dealing with an accountant that do not understand MLM, fire them. And I'm bold and underline, fire them. They will waste your money. They will waste an enormous amount of resource that you are going to lose. So don't be shy. If they don't understand or they don't respect the industry, do not work with these people. You're just going to throw away a lot of deductions and resources that can really play in your favor, because network marketing is a legitimate business. And again, before I start, one thing I want you guys to know, and I know you've heard me say this before, but in Canada, as you know, there's a lot of taxes. But the taxes are really interesting because they're not as aggressive if you contribute to the economy. For example, we are working with Max International here. We get an income from an American company. Even though the money is not really generated in the United States, it's really generated abroad. We bring the money into the United States from the international market. And because we're Canadian, we contribute to our Canadian economy. So you are entitled to all the, now it's called, at the time it was GST, now it's called the HST credit, as you all know. So you're entitled to all of that. And every single year, I get, well, they don't send me checks anymore. You just have a credit in your account, and now they're smart because they deduct it from what you owe, right? So you don't really see the cash anymore. But the fact is, it comes in as a credit, right? And it goes for a minimum of 3,000 to 4,000. And one of the reasons it's lower is because half the year we're in the United States. So it doesn't serve us well when we're in the United States because we can't claim taxes in a foreign country. It's only when we're in Canada that we're able to obviously accumulate all the HST that we spend. And at the end of the year, it accumulates. And there's been some years that we've had as much as 20,000. That's when I bought the Tesla and all of these things. Keep in mind that there was some purchases and there was some government support for electric car. All of it, it's beside the point. The fact here is you need to have clarity of what comes in and what comes out. And most people they shoot from the hip when they do their taxes. That's why, yes, most people don't want to spend money on an accountant. They will do it themselves, and that's totally cool. And if you know your stuff, you know your stuff. But it's good to maybe consult with someone. And in fact, Tammy and I were introduced. We want to introduce you to an amazing accounting firm that even got us involved into some real estate, which now is giving us positive cash flow. I took a few hundreds of thousands of dollars in my line of credit. I used a money's bank, and I took that money. I bought a piece of property, and then the money that I'm returned in the dividends, in matter of speaking, from this investment is paying my interest and capital. Talk about it. Instead of just having, okay, I got credit for X amount of, whatever, $500,000, $750,000, and you let it sit there and it does absolutely nothing for you. So this is the kind of accountant who understands they also respect. And in fact, they're involved in Max International. So they are understanding and respect the industry of network marketing. So if you're looking for an accountant, as a matter of fact, we're going to have one of those sessions, one of the Monday sessions. We'll invite them to come in and to share with you a little bit about themselves, because they are absolutely phenomenal. They're great people. They have a great system. And give you an example, whenever I get a bill, doesn't matter what it is, I just take a picture of it with my cell phone. It goes into an app. They receive a copy of it and it goes into my bank. I don't deal with receipts at the end of the year. That's a thing of the past. Everything is in real time and electronic. And I use what's that accounting software from Inuit? Anyway. So, so I can see what's happening every day, every minute. I can see how much I owe, how much I spend on all of these things. So I'm just saying this over and above what I'm about to share with you, for you to understand the importance to have a good accountant and to have some clarity when it comes to your affairs. And in Canada, I'm sure it's very similar in the United States. I never did my accounting in the United States, but I'm sure it's very similar. In Canada, if you have very clear expenses and obviously income, and then you start investing, then there's a lot of benefits that comes your way. For example, we talked about HST credit a moment ago, right? So if you turn around and you start making tens of thousands of dollars a month from an American company like Max International, you want to take advantage of that, because you can deduct taxes that is relevant to the money you bring in. But if you make $1,000 a month, you can deduct 5,000. You understand what I mean? So there's a common sense to all of that too. And if you have any questions or you need some clarity, feel free to post it on the chat and I'll try to address them. Keep in mind, I'm not an accountant, but I can certainly share my experience. So let me share the screen before. So there's two things that I shared into the Telegram group today. Okay, the Active Team Americas. I shared one link, which is a link to that exact spreadsheet. So every single one of you right now can download that spreadsheet. You can email it to yourself, whatever, just copy the link or download it on your computer or your phone. I suggest on a computer, it's a lot easier to see. There's more real estate space if you install my meeting. So you can actually start working on that. And the other link that I shared with you is mint.com. With mint.com, and I'll share that with you in a minute, you can consolidate all your accounts into one space to help you plug in the information on the spreadsheet that I'm about to share with you. Okay, if that makes sense, everybody, give me a virtual thumbs up. Okay, perfect, excellent. And everybody's looking for the button. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let me share my screen right now. Okay. Just bear with me, just going to move some things around so I'm going to see your beautiful faces as I'm talking. There you go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So right now, this is a budget that I downloaded from somewhere. I don't remember. It's about, I don't know, probably 16, 17 years ago. That's how old this spreadsheet is. And it's really, really effective. So what I do, and I'll give you an example a moment ago on mint.com and where you can find it. But for example, I had my income with Max. Okay, so for the sake of discussion here, let's say I was talking, it was 3,500. I'm going to start with, the amounts that we were getting in those days. I didn't really have property at the time. I didn't have any stock revenue at the time. It just started this. It just kind of evolved. As I was paying my debts and my bills, there was some money that came that was freed. And with that money that was released, I was able to reinvest it. In fact, we're living in one of those, which is in Florida. That's one of those property. The other one is in Costa Rica. I started pitching in, little amounts to start increasing my down payment. But what happens is this section here on the income, this is all the money that comes in. Okay. So let's just say that we do a budget here. What you can do is you can cut and paste that. Okay, many of you will do, I know that's what Tammy does. You go to edit and you can cut, you can copy. Okay, I'm just pressing Control C. And then from there, every single month, you don't have to retype them all. You simply go to the next cell. See, I'm moving to this cell here, and I do Control V or paste, paste, paste.
Unless it increases with your business.
Yes, but see, but that's the point.
When?
See, you can always change that. See, you see what's going on right now. I know that if this is what I make, let's say this is my income with Max. Well, would be my end of year income. It does all the totals for you. Okay. And let's just say that some of you have some investment property, right? You can just turn around and change this to, well, let's use this one, for example. I renamed this to investment property 1. And then you would, let's say you're making $300 of positive cash flow. Just give you in a scenario. Okay. And you're getting rental. And let's say this is what you're getting. Sorry. Okay. It's kind of sticky in the house, so everything sticks when I move. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do again, Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, here we go. So what's happening, you see what's going on? It's going to total that up again. And here's my total. Now my new total for my total income is 45,600. So I have an idea of how much money I'm making with my max income and let's say my property income. And some of you may have retirement, right? Government retirement funds that are coming in every single month, right? I know, Scott, you're retired as a military, so you would put that amount there, right? And then you would put them for, obviously that would be a fixed amount. You put that for the entire year. And you, again, cut and paste, and you see your total will grow here, okay? And then we start working with your expenses. And that's when, for example, the rent, I don't know, at the time it was 2,300, something like that. Utilities, phone, let's say my phone, and this would be for the month of January here. So what I'm doing here is, even though you might have cut and paste the same amount in every single month, the beauty is you can just change that as you see fit. So for example, my phone bill, let's just use cellular because I don't really pay for phone anymore. So it's just a cell phone. I think it's, I don't know, $105. Actually, I have 2 phones, so it would be 210. Okay. So this would be the phone bill, right? And then, and again, you see here right away, you can see the income I'm making. You can see that, okay, if I go all the way to the bottom, I have $1,290 extra left to utilize. So where this becomes very interesting is I had my credit card debts, right? I had the clothing. Well, I'm not a guy that buys every month, but I would put a small amount, with like $50, just so I had like some month I may spend 200, and for 3 months I may not spend anything. So I would put $50 a month. You know, these are things that are relevant to gym fees at the time. I mean, things varied as we moved, accommodation, health club, insurance, right? We have life insurance, we have house insurance, we have car insurance. So these are, and you can always add. And if you are going to add a segment, let's say for my expenses, I want to add, let's see here on insurance to transportation. Let's see here, I would like to say, in this case, I'm going to say car. Okay. And underneath, if you insert slides, okay, over here, all it's going to do is going to create an empty slide. And what's really cool is these will total from the beginning, for the first of that segment, all the way down to the end of the segment. So for example, it will go from 37 to 45. So if I can add 10 different items over here, it's going to count, it's going to consider that on the total. So for example, this would be house, insurance. Okay. So then of course, and then I will start putting the amounts over here. Okay. So let's say the house insurance, I don't pay monthly, I pay yearly because it's not a big amount. I think it's something like, I don't know, just going, let's say $400. Okay. And that's what I pay in January. In fact, it happens to be in March, but it doesn't matter. And then from there, I would put 0. And then what I could do, Control C, Control V, and I would just paste that to the end. Okay, I'm doing this manually so you can see now over here, if you want to make sure that the total is also quantified, you want to copy that cell, not this one, but this one, and you copy it down here. So you see what it did? If let's say I had another amount over here, let's say I had 150, right away, it's going to consider it and it's going to total this up. And it's going to also add it up here. Okay. So when I, for example, just recently I was working my son, I asked him to look at his bank statement and to isolate all of his expenses, not the things that he just buy from, whatever, the things that are expenses that he pays every single month. And then what we did is we worked on his entire month of January. And what's really interesting, again, he started seeing more clarity, because in the example of my son, he's going to turn around, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, without any consideration of how much money he has in the bank. He just, well, I need to buy this. Okay, wonderful. But if you buy this, well, here's what's going to happen. Let's say he says, well, I wanted to buy this brand new computer table that goes up and down. That's before Daddy bought his. He bought his own, and he spent something like $2,500 on that table. I say, son, really? So from there, that would be, let's see here. Where would I put that in? Let's just like maybe home. Yeah.
In your case, it would be office, right?
Yeah, I guess you could do, what do I have here? Repair, improvement, security. Yeah, so let me just add home repair or improve home security, home electronic. So let me just add here, and then I would say, furniture. Okay. And I like to see my zeros. So I would fill all the blanks with zeros. And let's say that this month he spent, like I said, $2,500 on this table. Okay, so let me complete that. I'm doing this in real time so you guys can see how I did this. It may seem simple, but I'm telling you, once you've done all of this, okay, the amount of clarity you will have will give you such a sense of peace. Now, look what happened. Because of my spending, I'm $1,600 in the red. So I say, son, you're going to have to keep up and to be able to catch up with this. And your expenses every single month, you're almost at par. Whatever you make, you spend. So that's $1,600 now. You need to carry it either on credit cards or negatives. And it's going to add pressure into your life. And what's happening is now that he saw that, then he started becoming more responsible. And says, well, I need to get my tooth fixed. I need to get my table done. I need to buy this new car. I need to, okay, whatever the reason is, at the end of the day, when there's no more money, there's no more money. And what happens is this just helps people make better decisions by having some ultimate clarity. And what's really interesting is at the end of the year, you actually see over here, the total amount of expenses over here. And you can see, like, obviously we haven't done, we have 11 more months to do here, but you see that most people live like that. And what this sheet does, it helps people be very clear on what they own and what they earn and what they spend. And what you do is right now in the month of March, okay, whatever expenses that you have accumulated in January and February and in the month of March, if let's say in March you didn't spend something, but you put an amount there, then put 0, change it to 0. And it's always exciting when you see that red, if this is in red, getting a little less. a little less. And what's going to happen is if I can continue this way, you'll see that it's red, 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 red. And this was the reality of Tammy and I. It was red for quite a few years, but the red amount was reducing and reducing and reducing and reducing and reducing, right? To a point where it, suddenly was black. And the reason it was red is because we had some payments on credit card payments that, you know, we borrowed and everything else that was not good decisions. But the fact is, as every time I was earning more bonuses with Max International and my income would grow, then what happens is it changes everything. So I would take, let's say, $2,000 over here, and I would take that $2,000, I would put it down on that credit card. Boom. And then I would make a payment over here, right? So what happens, I would put that 2,000 here as a credit card payment. And, oh, good, look at that. I still have the 3,150 because, you know, I went from 3,500 to 5,000 in that particular month. And you see, it's really interesting. Every single day, or I should say every single month, you actually look forward to look at this spreadsheet because it gives you some clarity and a peace of mind on where you are. This has been life-changing. And if you're, for example, if you're earning US dollars, then of course you can do the conversion. But me, what I did is I had wage in Canadian and I had wages in US, which was Max. And you can organize that in a way that you can follow well, but you can also apply the conversion, right? Now, I know that accountants, what they tend to do is there's a standard conversion rate per year that is applied. And this is what my accountant was doing. Sometime I actually did better. Sometime I didn't do so well. But overall, I wouldn't concern myself with this. For me, I was basically using my US dollars over here, and I would apply the conversion based on, because it's very, very close, based on a current conversion and in the month. And then I would see, okay, that's how much Canadian I have because I live in Canada. Then I would obviously, all my expenses were Canadian. In some cases, I also had expenses in US because I have a lot of online tools. So you can also have two spreadsheets, but I don't recommend to do that because at the end of the day, what's important is for you to have some clarity. And when you see that this is red, it's bad. When it's black, that's good, right? And that's what you have to keep in mind on a monthly basis. Now, once you save that, I'm not going to save it because I want to keep it as is with all the zeros on the server, because I'm getting this right from the active team group right now. Okay, so I don't want to play with these numbers. Does anybody have any questions on that? I know it's really straightforward. It's very easy. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to share with you here is you can insert comments or notes. Yeah, if you want to, absolutely, Maripol. You can really expand on that. Just to go back to this, you can add over here some segments, and you can have some comments. You can do a lot of things if you want. For me, it was very clear on what I earn, what I spend, my expense, because it's all repeated, right? The same expenses keeps coming back all the time. And I just had every single day, I was looking forward. I was looking forward on the next month to work for this bonus. And I was trying to aim for that. And I knew that when I grew my income and my income would grow, right, then suddenly, I mean, everything changes. And it's a complete different perspective, right? And next thing you know, you turn around and you start changing. I mean, it changes everything. And then you can start really thinking this through. Okay. But before you get there, obviously we have to use our common sense. And that here, as simple as it is has been life changing. So this is what's really important, is it helps you make daily decisions on the urge and the itch that we have to click that Amazon button to buy, knowing that if I do this, if I knew last month I was in the red because my expenses based on my income, and the next month I do the same thing, I know things are not getting better. And just that alone is helping people a lot. Okay, now the best way to consolidate all of your accounts, what I was using, I can't log in into here, guys, because that will open my entire gateway and the entire world can see that. So I don't think it's wise. But what I recommend here is you sign in. Okay. And or in your case, create a sign up if you don't have one. Okay. I highly recommend. This is free. Okay. When you sign up for this, then it's obviously going to ask you some questions and, you know, some details. And from there, obviously, I'm not going to go through that. But from there, it's going to ask you to connect to your bank accounts. You can trust this thing. This is Inuit, right? Everybody's
Is it just
very
for Canadian, Chris?
that's it's a Canadian and American. It doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't really matter. It could be United States, it could be Canada. I don't think it even matter what country, because it connects to your bank accounts. And this, you gotta have to go through, you know, remember your passwords and use your bank card. And you know, all my bank accounts are consolidated in there. And that's really nice, is I can see all my transaction, and it goes from top to bottom, and there's like a lot of line. And then from there, as I was filling in my January month or my February month, I would just get this number, I would plug them in, and I would add, you know, the category. Now, I haven't used that for years, guys, because I have a complete different system right now, as I explained earlier.
And you can create a budget on Mint. That's been really, really helpful for me before
Yes.
we do this new system that we have. And I would put my miscellaneous, my groceries, gas, whatever it was, I'd create my personal budget. And
Correct.
so each week I knew what my balance was that I could buy for groceries or miscellaneous, or we had a personal development amount to, whether we bought a book or did a course. And so that was very helpful to create that budget. And we always wanted more, just so you know. And I'm sure you're going to be the same when you see all of this. Once you see the numbers, like Chris said, it's totally clear. And then you know what you need to do every single month to increase your income, so you can increase your assets or whatever it is that you're looking to do. So that's
So what happens
really, really helpful, this platform.
So what happens over here is that it gives you all the details on cash, credit cards, investments, properties, and I have all of that. Okay. In the same time, what's interesting is Tammy said, I have a budget. My goal is to have, since Eric, I've doubled that, but it used to be 5 million. That's what I want. I'm talking assets, cash, everything. Now it's doubled. Okay. And I have a budget, and it's telling me, you know, based on the past 3 years with the pandemic, right? I lost, I don't know, about 30% of my investments. It's not lost because it's unrealized. It hasn't been sold, right? So the fact here is, you know, I'm about 18 months behind on my goal. But then suddenly things are growing pretty quickly. In fact, I know if you guys been monitoring Bitcoin, it went from 23,000, I think it's at 28,000 and change, and it's fluctuating, of course, right now. But there's a lot going on. And I'm also invested into cryptocurrency. You guys are aware of what's going on with, you know, the war and the financial war, and, you know, the partnership going on between China and Russia, and the partner, you know, that they're going in that could reduce the value of the US dollars and all of these things. It's not to scare you guys, it's for you to be aware that there's changes in the world. And every 99 years, the master major currency changes. And we've been around, it's been around for about 99 years. So changes are happening. And I think the virtual, you know, currency will eventually, yes, I'm quite aware, Scott. In fact, you know, XRP, and again, we got to be careful here because I don't want to influence any, but there's reasons why, right? Because some of those countries, I mean, these are some of the blockchains that are going to be utilized, and they have some of the features. So it's good to be aware of what's going on. So I'm a little bit over and above the discussion of tonight. But my point is, when you have clarity of what comes in, it's a lot easier to make decisions on where to go next. And that's the point. So
Yeah,
over
it's
here,
actually encouraging to increase your income. So
yeah.
you
So
know,
over here, well, as you're seeing all your
investments.
transactions,
Yeah.
okay, the reason I'm bringing this up is to help you put this together. Now,
Mhm.
some of you may be really well organized with your finances and you're doing really well. So don't change what's working. But if some of you are in, you know, things are confusing right now when it comes to your money, your finances, and your situation, this here, what it will do is it will give you ultimate clarity of where you are. What is your current status financially? And then you can start you can start saying, well, okay, I have that much free money now. What do I do with that money? Right. And these are things that the reason why I want to introduce our accountant is that this guy's a brilliant, brilliant man. He's an amazing investor. And there's some things that we can also do together. You don't have to spend a lot. You know, I was just showing Tammy how to create our account with crypto.com. In Canada, it's legal, right? And I have a little credit card. It's a crypto credit card. And I haven't paid for Netflix, Apple's, all my Apple membership, Primes, everything I buy on Apple when it comes to all the clouds and it's probably about, I don't know, $100 a month, $150 a month of stuff. And what I do is as I earn a little bit of crypto, I shift it into that credit card and it's paid. And I have to pay taxes on that. It's just the way things are. But the point is, it's another stream of income. So let's say you got an extra $200. I can show you how you can get that $200, put it into that crypto account so you can start purchasing, you know, $50 worth of Bitcoin or $50 worth of XRP. You know, XRP, this prediction, it could go super high. It's not all that expensive right now. And there's so many more, right? There's Ethereum. We could go on and on here. The point here is, once you have clarity and you know how much money you can spend, you don't need to invest a lot, right? Everybody knows that if you turn around and you buy $200 worth of something that's worth $1, and it goes from a dollar to, I don't know, $1,500 worth, you realize what that $200 is worth now. So I don't know. What I'm saying is that if you have extra money, then you can do some things, but it starts with having some clarity. And this is what this is all about, establishing clarity. So to bring this back to a close here, so we have some clarity, is what we talked about is, first of all, have a good accountant. That's very, very important. Let me just stop that for a minute. Okay. Make sure that you have a good accountant that understand the process. And 1 minute here. Just going to move things around. Yeah. Understand, an accountant understands our business, that understand the benefits of our business when it comes to tax deduction, because even if you're not making all that much money with Max International in Canada, you're entitled to make deductions for 7 years without making any money. Right. So yes, our accounting is based out of Toronto. That is correct. And again, we'll do a session here on one of the Mondays. We'll introduce them. They're in Ontario. If you're outside of Ontario, I don't know the details, but I'm sure these guys could probably refer you. They know a lot of great people. But our goal, Tammy and I, is to connect you with our resources, starting with, you need to understand and know where you are. Get a good accountant. Do an inventory of your assets, what you own. Doesn't matter if you have debts, if you're in the hole. None of that matters right now. What matters is you have clarity. And I shared with you the personal budget Excel spreadsheet. And then the other thing that we talked about is mint.com. If you don't have an account, take advantage. This is one of those apps that every single person should have access to. This is not just Canadian. This is for the United States. It's for Canada. And I think it might work in different parts of the world. I don't know. But I know in the United States and Canada, no issues whatsoever. What I shared with you applies for everybody. The only thing is the accountant that we're going to be introducing you guys may not apply because they're obviously doing taxes for the Canadian, especially in Ontario. Okay. And then from there, once some of you have some clarity and you're looking to do certain things, and again, keep in mind that we're not financial advisors, we're not investors. I'll show you what we do. And right now I make about, even when the crypto crashed, I still make $1,500 US of crypto every single month. But that doesn't come out of thin air. These are things that I've built up, right?
Yeah,
so
you took very expensive courses to learn all
yeah,
this.
but that they don't need to go to the expensive courses
No.
because
No,
you
but
know,
you have
I didn't know
over the years.
anything and I needed to go with someone I trusted. Correct. But I know this stuff, and you guys know we have, you know, your best interest at heart. And we're not going to tell you what to do. We're not going to recommend for you to do anything. I'm going to show you what we do, and then you can choose what you think is more appropriate for you. But first, you do not want to invest blindly in hoping for the best, like winning the lottery. It doesn't work that way. You need to have some clarity on your situation, where you stand. And all of you have access to this. If you happen to be on Facebook Live here, Alexander, I know you're here. Maria, okay, you're in the Philippines. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this spreadsheet. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. It's just a spreadsheet. Doesn't matter what currency you use. So I suggest that you download it. And what I do is once the training is uploaded, once Marcel uploaded on the activeteamtraining.com, which is our YouTube channel, on the comment section, I will put a reference to the mint.com for you to create your own account and also access this personal budget. Okay. Then it's really up to you. And I'm going to call my accountant this week. I'm going to ask him if he'd be available to come to one of our Monday night sessions and to do, I don't know, a 15, 20-minute introduction of who they are and what they do and the kind of service they provide. I tell you, I love it. I do not handle receipts anymore. Everything is photocopied, pictured with my cell phone. It goes into an app. The app extracts the taxes, it extracts the amounts, it extracts the information of the merchant, it extracts the address, the phone number, everything, and it feeds all that into a database. And I can go back in 10 years from now and search something that I purchased, which I did a little test. I was looking for something. I forgot the bill. I couldn't find it. Boom, I found it in 2 seconds with my cell phone. So that's what we want to do, is we just want to give you our resources to help you manage yours. What is the app for Mint? Yeah, well, it's if you basically type in mint.com, Maripol,
Yes.
I'm sure the app will come
That's
in.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's all there is, guys. If there's it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, feel free you can always post it in a comment once the video is posted, or you can do it over here. We can handle them. But I think it's pretty straightforward. Anything you want to add, Tammy?
No, just double checking on the logo. Yes, that's the correct logo. Mint.
That is correct. Yes,
Budget
the
and
logo is correct. Yes, that is correct. iPhone. Oh, that's Jasmine. Okay. Yes, that is correct, Jess. Okay. This is absolutely brilliant. I'm telling you. Just one minute here. Mint. Okay. So it looks like that.
Looks like a mint.
Just let the.
You're blurry.
There you go. Yeah, it's got. Okay. You see mint.com right there. You can see the icon, right? And from there, it just runs, and it's pretty straightforward. Okay. And then from there, it's going to turn around. Oh, yeah. Okay. I get it. I get it. Here we go. I'm there. Okay. So, and it's really neat because it has, it has all your assets, you know what I mean? And I shouldn't do that, but okay. You can see here where I'm at, right? So I'm basically halfway to what I'm trying to do. So it's a really cool tool. And it's really, really useful to fill in this form. And if there's anything else you guys need, let us know. I don't mind doing sessions, but at first, what I recommend is create your mint.com account, start filling your budget spreadsheet, and start having some clarity. And I know some of you are really, really well organized with your finances. I know, Linda, you're like an accountant and a banker and you know your stuff, right? So some of you, I understand that you know what's going on and everything is clear, and not everybody's in the same boat. And if I could be of some help, we can. And then from there, maybe we can start discussing, you know, crypto. I'm not a professional by a long shot, but I know enough to be dangerous. And like I said, I've been cashing in for almost 2 years now, a year and a half, 18 months. And
But the goal is really to, in this session, is for everybody to learn your numbers, know your numbers. And from there, start increasing your income. If you're in the red, obviously you need to increase your income. There's no question there. But also when you're in the profits, that's the thing, is when you're in profits, then obviously you want to do stuff that's, you know, not putting all your eggs in one basket, that you can start having some assets. And that's really the goal.
Yeah. And the fact, guys, we're talking to you from experience. Like everything I just shared with you, we are living the results of it. The property in Florida started from putting $5,000 down. I'm laughing because it's obviously, you know, but that's how it started. Right. And, you know, the property in Costa Rica, I mean, that's paid years and years ago. The property, you know, we finished last month. We finished paying our property in Toronto, you know, the wonderful property we have, it's paid in full. So, and this started with in debt up to our eyeballs, right? So we bought a property, we rented the property for several years, and we sold the property, and I took all the cash from that and I put it back into the property in Toronto. And I've been doing payments and big chunks of payments. And at one point I dumped 100,000, and I understand some of you may not be within your reach, but I'm just saying that this is like in the future. If you start planning and you start focusing and doing the activities that grows your volume. For example, back to Max here, Tammy and I had a session this morning with Jasmine, Sheni, Erica. I think it was just a few of us, and we're planning to go to Mexico. We're planning to go to Mexico from April 20th until May 5th. And there's flyers that are coming in, and this is fresh off the press. We just talked about it this morning to start planning. Jasmine was actually doing some research on some B&Bs, and you know, she found a nice spot. And so it's all being constructed as we speak right now. And some of you may want to tap into all of that. And I assure you that Mexico is going to be a great market. And now we're working on the foundation, making sure that the Spanish is all there, and it's not in English, right? But in Spanish, because there's a lot of English within the Spanish subdirectory that we're fixing. And also we have a Facebook group that is in Spanish. And just so you know, the reason why, that's beside the point here, guys, but it's very important. The reason why we use Facebook groups is Facebook groups, it doesn't matter what language you speak. If you happen to be speaking Spanish and you write something in Spanish, I happen to be English or French, whatever, my phone is English, it will translate automatically in English. If I write something in English, a Spanish person will look, and the operating system is Spanish, it will convert automatically in Spanish. And Facebook is, I mean, it's evolving. So it's really important that we have this group, because now we can interact. And even though we may not speak the language at the moment, they can read it anyway, because of the translation and the AIs, as you know, are becoming more and more and more sophisticated. So this is a group that's going to be very important, because we'll be able to interact with each other even though we don't speak the language. So that's what AI tools are doing today. So this is in place. So if you look for Active Team Group, you'll notice there's a few of them, and one of them is going to be in Espanol. Okay. If you have been part of this team, of course, you're very welcome to go in there, but this is not to start posting things that are outside the context of what we do, and it's designed to support the Spanish. Otherwise, you know, we have the Active Team Group page. There's a lot of data there. This training is there. Everything we do is always posted there. We have the Crown Diamond Global Impact. As we know, we're doing the last week of the 90-day run right now. And the key to massive growth is, first of all, we have to have one system, one environment. If everybody starts branching off and doing their own things, it is over. You're breaking the cycle of duplication. You want to make money, we need to maintain the cycle of duplication. That's how you make money. If you branch off that, you're on your own. So we need to work together, and that's what's going to be the recipe that's going to be helping associates to make a lot of money in Mexico. Is everybody signs up, they get into the group, they get into the page, they download the board, they have all the same information, and they all do the steps the exact same way. And then when we go there, instead of going there and reteaching again a new system because someone else did something else, then everybody knows exactly what to do. So when you go there, you just add on to the momentum instead of everybody's on breaks because nobody understands anything, nobody knows anything. So that's why we have the system in place. One of the reasons why I'm pushing hard for all of you to learn how to use Zoom. Some of you may be a little frustrated on that, but it's really important. Because once you get this knowledge, you become powerful. You can do all of these things. You can expand, you can grow, you can evolve. So that's the reason why I'm insistent. And now we're adding 3 languages, which is really cool. Starts in English, Spanish, and French. And thank you for all of you. And congratulations for everybody has filled in their spots. I think we have a few left. The flyers are coming out right now. And as of April, we're going to be having 3 webinars as we did, but 3 different languages. Now, any one of you can do your own. So why am I talking about this? It goes back to your budget. You want to increase your max income. We need to go out there and start doing some activities that will help you grow your organization and grow your business. Okay. So these are all the things that we're lining up in 2023. Mexico is going to be a big part of it. And as we start traveling, and we'll let you guys know where we're going. But right now we have some pretty firm dates, and we're solidifying all of this. So as we end, Tammy, do you have anything else you want to share?
Yeah, just work your resources. I mean, that's what I've been working on a lot today, knowing that we're going to Merida. Just go online, go on LinkedIn, connect with some people. Whatever profession that you're in, search online. Dental hygienists in Merida. You can join groups. And, Canadians living in Merida. I know I joined several groups. Mm-hmm. So there's lots that you can do, resources, and just find some people and look for the influencers. One thing you want to make sure that you're doing is talking to people who have the resources to get started. That's very, very important. And you want to start now. You don't want to wait until we get into a country when you start talking to people, because once we're over there, we're going to be working it, right? So do the foundation work now. Don't wait, because you can get them on next Wednesday is the first presentation that Erica and Luz are doing for Mexico.
In Spanish.
Yeah, in Spanish. So you want to start inviting people to that platform, start sending them information, set up some third-party validation sessions. And if they're Canadian or American, living part-time in Merida, perfect. Mm-hmm. If you have people in Mexico, ask for referrals, ask them who they know who live in these areas. So do the foundational work now. Don't wait.
Yes, that's correct.
Remember so when we went into Ghana, Chris, just quickly, when we went into Ghana, when we were there, we were so busy because people who did the foundation work, the team was already there. And then people would message us, hey, can you give this person information? A lot of these people, their people fell through the cracks because they didn't do the fundamental work to get them out to the meetings, to get them to put them in front of us, to do the video calls or the links. You know, they had no information. Some of them we would meet. We had last minute chances to meet people in Ghana, and our flight was going out and they were late, and it creates a lot of stress on us, only to find out they really didn't have any information. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we're flying out
So in
that day.
closing, Tammy,
Yeah.
So it's almost up at the hour, and I want to respect that, guys. So what's happening here is the summary of today is find a good accountant. That's an important thing. Number two is do an inventory on your affairs. Use a spreadsheet. It's a really good one. If you have something better, by all means, but this is a really good one. Number three, to help you gather the information, create your account with mint.com. If you have one, just relog in, resynchronize. It's going to reconfirm your passwords and everything else. It's very, very, very secure. It's very thorough, as a matter of fact. And once you're there, then you can start doing your inventory. The next thing from there, what we're talking about is, okay, now we need to increase your income. And to increase your income, what's important is to take advantage of what's coming and start connecting to groups. Okay. And so, and groups that are relevant to where we're going. Like Tammy, give you some examples. You can always go back to the recording and move the segment to what Tammy was sharing, right? You know, Canadians living here in Spanish or whatever the situation may be. The one thing that's very, very important is you familiarize yourself with the content. What is available for you to help you grow this market. That's how we grow. You want to stay within the system. You do not want to branch off, because if you do that too soon, you're breaking a cycle of duplication, and right away your income will be shut. So if you want to grow your income, you want to stay within the system and grow the system. And I'm telling you, this is how this works. So at this point, if there's any comments, Lucy, you mentioned we're coming back in Toronto. I didn't book our flights yet, but it's definitely going to be the last weekend of May, whatever that date happens to be. It depends on flights. It depends on price, and I will see what I always try to negotiate the best possible price and so forth. So, but it'll be within the last week of May, which I'm probably going to be booking before I leave for Mexico. Okay, guys. So that's the end of our session. Remember, tomorrow evening, I know the email went out and it says was Tammy and I. That's what it used to be, but I know there was a swap. So it's going to be Barbara Ann and Paul. I'll be hosting for them because they're not familiar with the concept yet, but they'll be presenting. And just make sure that you follow the the presenters, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. It's in English for the 3 days. But as a new month of April, remember, in English on Tuesday, it'll be in Spanish on Wednesday at 9 o'clock, not 8 o'clock, but 9 o'clock, to respect the different time zones in Mexico, because this is going to grow as this evolves. And on Thursdays, it is in French. And thank you, Lucy, for also offering to be part of the presenters. Okay, guys, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for your patience this evening, and I hope the information was helpful. And bye for now. Bye-bye.